Hey everyone, sorry for not doing a video in a while. I've been having another 7-week class, but on this video I think I'm gonna do a video on who are they called? On when I think the Anglosphere went to shit. Or when did I think, or just the English-speaking world started to go bad. And yeah, I would agree that it was probably breaking away from the Catholic Church, but I would go back even further to that. And that I would probably go back to 1066 and the Norman Conquest. So, the reason I say this because before the Norman Conquest, in Anglo-Saxon England, Catholic Anglo-Saxon England, you had, what was it? A hierarchical system, yes. You did have slavery, but it was much more fluid, if that makes any sense. Like, there was social mobility. So, and the classes that you had, at the very bottom, you had the slaves, and then above that, you had the kind of independent farmers. And above that, you had the thieves, who were a noble warrior class. And above that, you had the earls, who were kind of like lords. And then above the earls, you had the king. But it's important to remember that with the Anglo-Saxon kind of class system, it was pretty fluid, and social mobility happened a lot. So you could have a common kind of like farmer could become wealthy enough to become a thegn, a warrior, noble. They also had farmers who could end up getting so poor they would have to sell themselves into slavery. So it wasn't like chattel slavery, right? So you weren't stuck in your position. But that all kind of changed when the Normans conquered. You didn't have such a fluid system anymore, because under the Anglo-Saxons, I think with their last king, there was 5,000 nobles, but when the Normans came, there were only 200 Norman barons, and most of these Anglo-Saxon nobles were wiped out. And in Norman books that kind of listed like all the lands, all the peoples of Norman England, only a handful, only you could count the number of people who were actually of Anglo-Saxon descent who on your hand who were nobles. So the Normans pretty much wiped out the Anglo-Saxon nobility. But not only that, I think what happened, not only that, but the Normans also brought a very elitist, very structured form of feudalism where there wasn't really any social mobility, right? And what I'm trying to get at is that I think this is part of where kind of the over-the-top English classism, where the kind of hatred of the poor kind of comes from the Norman conquest, in all honesty. And two, not only that, but I mean, you could kind of say the Norman conquest was kind of a genocide, in honesty. And not only that, the Norman conquest brought about a bunch of stupid wars with France for no reason at all. You know, I mean, there's no reason for England and France to be enemies. And two, I mean, even Henry VIII, who broke away from the Catholic Church, was of Norman ancestry. I find it interesting that the Stuarts, who they were of the House of Wessex, so they would have been of an Anglo-Saxon, and I think also Scottish lineage. And with the whole English Civil War, Charles, he was fighting against. Waiting for this dude to go away. So what was I saying? Between the Puritans and the Cavaliers, well, Charles was a Stuart, and he was fighting against Puritanism. So I think that's also another interesting thing. But I mean, I think I see all the ramifications of it, because a lot of this classism and this hatred of the poor was transferred to the United States, which makes sense because we are historically an Anglo country, not really anymore, but historically. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I kind of feel like the Anglo-Saxons before the Norman conquest had the kind of right system, you know. It was more just, it was more meritocratic. But the Normans, they destroyed that. And in some ways you can kind of blame them for England leaving the Catholic Church. So that's just my 2 cents. And yeah, I just think Anglo-Saxons generally had a better system, and it's sad that the Anglosphere lost that. So I hope you liked that video, and I hope it kind of makes you think, because this whole entire anti-Anglo hatred is actually kind of stupid. Like, it's way more complicated than that. And especially, like, if you're a white American and a black American, and your ancestors have been here before the year 1800s, then you probably have Anglo ancestry. So you need to stop coping with it and just accept it. So, peace out.